now that we have that introduction out of the way, let's introduce our AP workshop team. So like we mentioned before, we are all rising seniors. We're super duper old and experienced. So here we go. First off, hi everyone again. My name is Joyce Liu, and listed below are the AP exams that I've personally taken. So in freshman year, I self-studied psychology, and I ended up getting a 4 in that. So woo, that was fun. And then sophomore year, I took the course European history and also Chinese language and culture, both of which I got 5s on. And then this past year, with COVID, I took AP English language and composition, and I also took AP Calculus AB, biology, and I self-studied environmental science. And we'll see what scores I get when the scores actually come out later in July. Brandon, take it away.
Hello, I'm Brandon Wu, and yeah, these are my AP exams taken. In sophomore year, I took Chinese, AP Chinese language and literature, and I also took computer science A. And in junior year, I took AP chemistry, statistics, and English language and composition.
Hey guys, I'm Emily, and the AP exams I've taken in freshman year, I took AP Human Geography and I got a 4. In sophomore year, I took AP Government, I got a 3 on that, and then Statistics and Psychology, I both got a 5. And then junior year, I just took Micro and Physics 1. In all of these, I took the class and yeah, I took the class. I didn't self-study for any of them. And then 2 AP classes I took the class but not the exam were European history and French.
Thank you. And then let me get the next slide. Hold up, my mouse doesn't want to work with me.
Hello, my name is Yijing Yu, and in sophomore year, I've taken 5 AP exams as listed there. I self-studied all of them except for the Chinese language and culture, which I took with the class, and I scored 5 in all of them. And junior year, I took physics, calculus, US history, and computer science, all with the class except for physics.
Thank you.
I'm Jenny Chen, and in freshman year, I took biology, but I self-studied AP biology. Sophomore year, I took European history, and then junior year, I took Calc AB, but I took the VC test, Physics 1, Computer Science, APUSH, Microeconomics, and Macroeconomics, both self-studied.
Ooh, thank you. So now we have a couple questions prepared to talk about, which some of them were accumulations from questions that have been submitted before, and a couple were just ones that we thought would be helpful for you guys. But if you guys have any additional questions, or if you think of any off the top of your head, feel free to drop them in the Zoom chat and we will get to those by the end of the presentation. So here we go. Question number 1, what are the recommended APs to take for each grade? Emily, would you like to start this one off?
Okay, so at my school, for us, they recommend us to take AP Human freshman year and AP Psych sophomore year. And I would definitely save like the harder classes for upper years.
Yeah, for sure. Like, honestly, some schools will go out of their way and be like, hey, here's a list of stuff that we recommend you to take for each grade, while other schools are somewhat more like relaxed about it. Like my school, I know a lot of the teachers go kind of like out of their way to like tell you, hey, don't take these many AP classes. My school, especially the counselors, try to limit you to 2, which doesn't exactly make for a super competitive thing for college applications, but it is doable. I think a lot of the times what I would recommend is to kind of go with what you're interested in. Like, for example, if you're interested in sciences, like from when you were like a kid and you want to do it, then you could like self-study and take as many classes that your school provides as you want. But a lot of the times it's kind of based on what classes your school provides and also what you're interested in. So, and as a general rule of thumb, from what I hear and from what I've done, I would save AP Sciences and like harder AP courses for when like junior or senior year. And if you're feeling super up for it, go for it sophomore year if you want. But like a lot of the times, freshman year, you're trying to get used to, going from middle school to high school, and that transition may take quite a toll on you. So I would recommend not overburdening yourself, especially like the first couple of years. But all in all, completely up to you to how confident you are in a certain field, and whatever interests you, and whatever your school provides, you can take advantage of that. And yeah, that's basically it. Do any of the other panelists want to squeeze in a word here and there? Cool, I'm gonna count that as a no. Question number 2. Oh, let me find my cursor. So question number 2, in general, what's the best way to prepare for an AP exam, both for self-study and for AP class exams?
So I think I'll start. So I'm gonna talk mostly about self-study AP exams. So I think the most important thing to do is to start really early. So for me, I will usually start learning about the topic the summer before or right at the beginning of the school year, and just make a plan of what to learn each week. And I don't think you need to spend a lot of time every day, at most 1 hour, and it should be enough. And also, instead of following a textbook, which you may got from your teacher online, they are often really time consuming and inefficient. You should definitely just follow a prep book and with supplement information like AP videos on YouTube posted by the College Board, or just watch videos about the topic you are struggling with. And also around 1 to 2 months before your actual exam, you should really start doing actual test practice questions, like the real questions. Free response questions from previous year's exam with solutions are all on the College Board website. And you just need to Google search the subject name plus FRQ, and Google should just take you there. And usually the College Board provide you with 10 to 20 years of free response questions. So try to definitely do them all. And especially you need to pay attention to the answer format if you are doing the self-study. And for multiple choice questions, I think doing the ones on the prep book will be enough. They're the relative easier ones that just test you on the basic concepts. And that's my way of self-studying AP exam. As for the AP class exams, the tips I would give is to just follow your class list to your teacher. So usually, most of the time, the teacher would teach you the correct answer format for your response, or just tell you what kind of question is most important and how to approach a certain problem. But I would still recommend buying a prep book for review and do the free response questions on College Board website for practice. But from my experience, you'll be fine as long as you follow your class.
Cool. Brandon, is there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think that captured most of it. I would just say in class, yeah, just pay attention a lot. Don't feel afraid to ask questions, because if you do well in class and get the grade you want, you'll probably feel prepared for the AP exam. So yeah.
Also, just a quick little note that I kind of thought of off the side. A lot of the times, AP exams, their testers have, or the proctors and the graders, they have certain things that they're looking for, especially for FRQs. If you want to know how to because the best way to answer those is to, most of the time, is you want to be most efficient. So you write as little as you can to get all of your points, because it is a timed exam, or at least that's what I've learned for some of the exams. So if you want little tips and tricks, hacks like that, most of the time everything is written out. If you buy a prep book for it, most of the time they'll have little life hacks in the beginning. Take advantage of those. They will help you formulate a concise way to answer something while saving time and also getting maximizing your points. And if you're taking the actual class, you can take advantage of how much your teacher knows as well about the exam. You could ask them hey, for FRQs, what's the best way I could write it? Is there a certain formula I can use to make sure I answer everything, but also save as much time as I can to focus on maybe some harder questions later on. So take do a lot of practices, but also focus on the minor details of how to maximize your points. And that will kind of help you score higher on your AP exams. Anything else anyone else want to add? Because if not, I'm gonna move on. Cool.
I would also say like if for like science exams, I would definitely recommend in class just because oftentimes you'll do labs or work with materials and you just can't get that like by yourself. And also, this may seem a little like, well, duh, but like if you know the teacher isn't like a good teacher, then just self-study because I've definitely made that mistake.
For sure. Like sometimes teachers that are known to just be super hard could risk your GPA while like, not giving you the content that you need for the class. And really it will be a personal choice, but you can talk to upperclassmen, you could talk to, or maybe not talk to a counselor since like, that would be like starting beef in the staff faculty, but you can definitely talk to upperclassmen, which is also a really great way to like prepare. It's like, hey, I heard you took this exam like, so and so years ago. Is there anything you would want to like tell your past self or like tell me about? Because like I don't want to fail. But yeah, use all the resources that you can. Don't be afraid to ask questions. No one's gonna think you're crazy for like, reaching out to try to get a good score because at the end of the day, everyone knows that AP exams are really hard and we are all trying to get fives on all of them. So yeah. Any last thoughts? Going once, going twice. Cool. Question number 3. What are the easier exams and the harder ones? Ooh.
Okay. I think in general, I mean, it does depend on your like strengths. But personally, I found psychology, statistics, and human geography to be easier. And then harder was definitely like physics. I think most people find physics way harder. And then language exams as well would also be harder.
Yeah, I just want to add like the easier exams might also include the ones that you could easily self-study, which are the micro and macro economies. And also, I think if you are like really good at certain language, you should definitely that should definitely count as an easier exam. And also, easier exams just maybe just anything that emphasize largely on like memorizing stuff or just applying the same theory somewhere. As for the harder one, I would think the major lab science exams like biology, chemistry, and physics, they should be the hardest ones. And you should definitely like shouldn't take them by yourself. You should follow a class. So like as for me, I took AP Physics 1 and Physics C Mechanics without a class, but like I could say that it's really, really difficult. Although like I already have a decent knowledge of physics before like kind of deciding to take the test because I just really love physics. But like I spent way too much time on it like during the school year. I really regret my choice. Like I was like going over the internet trying to find practice problems. Like yes, it's very time consuming to learn like some concept without a teacher to actually guide you and answer your questions. So like I definitely do not recommend taking any of the lab science AP tests without taking the class. But like if you could, like it's totally possible if you just really good at the subject.
Cool. Does anyone else want to add to it? Nope. Okay. So question number 4, should I self-study exams in an earlier grade, such as 9th or 10th grade, or wait to take the AP class in a higher grade level, 11th or 12th grade? So my recommendation for this, it's like if you know that your school provides a class and you're interested in taking it, I would recommend taking it like, whenever they provide it. Like for example, my school, like we are given European history in sophomore year. And it's like, say I was interested in it in freshman year, like I probably would just wait until sophomore year to take it. One, because like if you take the class and you score well on the AP exam, you're given course credits for it versus if I just self-study for it and I do great on the test, like, it won't exactly impact my GPA in any way. It'll only give me college credits, but, I still want that GPA boost from, weighted classes like taking AP classes. Because we all know AP classes are weighted. And if your school does do weighting for your GPA, it can definitely help bolster your grade point average and make your, college application just that bit more competitive. Ejin, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, sure. like I said earlier, like the lab sciences, for the lab science is just the best to take the class and then the exam. Same with the other harder ones because a lot of them they require a certain format of showing work to earn credit. Like you have to mention some keywords or show a certain equation in order to like get some points. If you choose to self-study an earlier grade, like you might write a lot of completely useless work like to the graders. And but even if you get the correct answer, you only get like a small fraction of the points. So like the best thing about taking the class is actually that you don't have to spend as much time and worry like if your work will cost you points. But of course, if you're like just really passionate about some subject, go ahead and take it. Like no one's gonna stop you, and like doing something fun is might actually not be like feel as hard. And yeah, and also if you're like that you're taking a class in junior year, like you already know it, like I'm gonna take calculus, let's say, then it's definitely pointless to take it in an earlier grade, because if you already like know all the information and then you go ahead and take a class, the information the teacher is telling you might be pretty boring, and basically it's kind of just a waste of time to like spend a lot of time on it and then take the class later on. And but like the easier exams should definitely be taken early grade. So as for my experience, like 9th and 10th grades are not that hard, and the teachers don't pressure you a lot with homeworks and tests and stuff, and you will get way more time compared to junior year, which you might actually take AP classes and stuff, and they give you a lot of homework. So for me, I rarely get any free time in my junior year. So like if you're really passionate about taking a lot of tests or just want to look good on college apps, be sure to take a lot of the easier ones in early high school. And if you pick the right ones, you only need to spend like 1 to 2 hours per day to study, and that would be definitely enough to make you score well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and quick thing, Elena in the chat asked what happens to your GPA for AP class that you're going to self-study for, and like, do you just earn graduate like college credit, or do they give you like a 4.0? So something I wanted to clarify was just if you take an AP class, right, and then you get an A, we all know how GPAs are typically like calculated, right? You have like A's are fours, threes, B's are threes, two, one, and then like, you kind of find like the average of it. So if you take an AP class or an accelerated class, if your school runs by a weighted GPA system, they will give you a 5 instead of a 4. And that's technically how you would be able to get over a 4.0 GPA once all of your grades are accumulated by the end of like your high school career, or like at the end of each semester, you'll get your transcript. And that is one way that you can get over a 4.0. So what I meant before when I said like, if you self-study an exam, you get a good score, it's not as worth it as like taking a course and then also scoring well on the exam. Like taking that course will boost your GPA versus if you just score well on a self-study, your GPA will not be affected at all. So I just wanted to clarify that real quick. It's just if you self-study, does not impact your GPA whatsoever. But if you take a course and you get an A, right? You could you could get over that 4.0 GPA if like you've gotten A's for like your entire school career. Cool. So yeah, Jenny, did you have anything you wanted to add to this question?
Yeah, for me, I think that if you have a course that you're already taking and there's a AP course that's similar to the course you're taking, like for me in freshman year, I took biology and then I self-studied AP biology. I think it's good to you could self-study it that way because um, having the class already in your schedule keeps you on track. And then but if you do that, if you choose to do that, you definitely should also add extra time to study the AP exams because AP exams are kind of specific and like different from the normal courses you would take.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so Anything else anyone else wants to add? And also, just to make sure that no one feels like we're ignoring their questions, chat questions we will be answering at the end. So like we see your questions, it's just some of them like we might go over later, and also other ones we just want to save for the end, for the sake of efficiency. Okay, so moving on to question number 5. Any tips for taking one or more self-study AP exams? So for me, I think the best thing you can do is to kind of like start early. It's like, I know it's like at the beginning of the year, you're like, oh my gosh, I have, 180 days until like the exam. Like, I have super, like a lot of time. But like, honestly, you're going to be learning something by yourself. You're going to have to motivate yourself to actually get things done. So for me, I'd say like start early. You don't have to like, start exactly at the same time as like, your school classes because like, at the beginning, it's like right out of the summer. We're all students. We know like at the summer we normally take it like low key kind of slow, like, and that's totally okay because it's completely normal to have a transition period between not doing anything over the summer versus like, going hardcore straight into high school. So I would say just like once you get used to the grind, start studying a little bit. Like whenever you have the free time, whenever you have anything, just like start looking at it, at least read through the material. So like you have kind of an inkling, like a low key, a foundation to kind of build other information on. And then just take it one step at a time. And then when the actual AP exam is like, a month away, then you're like, oh, I've looked through everything. I've done a couple practice tests. Like I'm chilling. And then it won't be as like, stressful. Like for example, if like you waited until like the last 2 weeks to do any studying, and that's just, ooh, that would not be fun. So yeah, Ej and Jenny, do you guys want to add anything to this?
I just want to add, like, you should definitely make a good calendar, like, put on your calendar what to study each week. So, what I usually do is to have each week focusing on a different subject if I'm doing one or more, and just squeeze out some time to study a bit every day. But like, it also depends on your study style. Like, I have friends that study subject by subject or just cram everything at the end of like 3 months, like near the test. But like I'm not recommending that. But like it really should depend on your past experiences with self-study or like taking test strategies. And also like you should really finish at least one prep book and 3 complete tests for each of the subjects. If you really don't have time to do that, you should just go really deep into one test just to look at the answer key really carefully and try to answer your questions according to the format given on the answer key. Yeah, that's just a time-saving strategy and you won't lose a lot of points if you follow like kind of the rubric. I think they give you a point rubric. And also like just a last little tip. So if you don't have time to do a lot of practice questions, you don't have to learn like every aspect of a certain topic in order to score well. You just need to understand like basically how everything works instead of like understanding really deeply about why this happened, why that happened. So like you definitely don't want to just learn everything on a professional level if you're taking a lot of tests.
Jenny, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think like Eden said, looking over old tests is really important and getting familiar with the formatting because like repetition of the test format creates confidence and you need confidence to like sit through this 3-hour test and like keep up and stay on track. Also, if you're self-studying, some schools don't allow you to take AP courses or like test them if you're not taking the course. So if you do choose to self-study, you should make sure that you have somewhere to test by like getting in contact with your school AP coordinator, and like if not, you can contact the AP services on the College Board website.
Yeah, and basically one more thing. If you find yourself cramming for a test and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time to actually sit through an entire practice test, like Asian said, you can look at like other people's tests. Like College Board has this handy dandy website where if you literally search up uh, AP, insert whatever AP you're doing, uh, FRQ or like past exam from some year, they have this like this entire website dedicated to like each test where they have past tests that you can look at. You can like a lot of the times, sometimes they'll have like sample answers where like you can look at what someone else wrote and see the score that the testers that the graders give them and see the explanation on why they got that score. Like if someone did really really well, like what did they do to earn all those points? Or like if you're like for example AP English, like the test that I took last school year, it's kind of like we have this thing called sophistication point where like it's super hard to get. It's either you get it or you don't. It just means you are a superb, like above like excellence and whatever. And it's like, how did they earn that point and how do I replicate that in a sense? Like, and really reading through other people's works will help you kind of develop your own thoughts and help you like kind of iron out, okay, this is where like I can earn points. This is how this person earned points. And how am I going to do that so that I get as many points as I can? So basically, when it comes to self-studying, start early, use all the resources you can, make sure you can actually get an exam. And yeah, moving on to question number 6, what brand of prep book is the best? So this question is more catered to like, or actually no, you could be like, it could be helpful for self-studies and also for people that are interested in taking the course and taking a prep book to follow along. From my personal experience, I prefer Princeton textbooks. Like, I feel like I've used both Princeton and Barron's before. And I feel like Barron's is kind of, how do I say it? It's like, it's good to follow along with a class because it's very concise, it's very direct, and it'll give you all the information that you need, but it's lacking when it comes to explanations. So it'll give you the bare bone facts, but a lot of the explanation you typically get from a lecture the Barron's book doesn't really have. So I feel like if you're looking for a quick way to remember the things that you learned throughout the school year, I would suggest the Barron's. But like if you're trying to self-study and actually learn more materials, Princeton will have all the information, but like they do a lot of explanations, but if you already understand the material and you're reading through a Princeton, it might end up being kind of redundant. But that's just a personal experience from me. Would Emily, would you like to talk about your experiences with prep books?
I'd agree. I'd say like Princeton is definitely better than Barron for me personally, and I like the tips that Princeton gives. They're
Mm.
really good about like tips and then just like explanations, as you said.
So yeah, but like if you end up liking a Barron's more, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean, anything. It's just a personal style, like what kind of prose, what type of language you like. Because sometimes I like in one of the Princeton, the psychology, like the Barron's, sorry, not Princeton, Barron's psychology book, they have like random jokes thrown in there, and I thought it was super hilarious and it helped me remember stuff. So like it really depends on how you learn, what type of language you like. If you like straight up just like here are the facts, trying to make sense of them on your own, go for Barron's. If you want like a step-by-step guide on like exactly how to like ace the test, exactly like everything you need to know about the subject, feel free to get a Princeton's. And if like there's another brand, like a smaller brand that you end up finding and you really really like, go for that one. By saying like something is the best, it's kind of very it's a personal preference really. So yeah, doesn't matter which book. We're just kind of suggesting we're leaning towards Princeton, but if you like any other book, that's all on you. So yeah, question number 7, is it difficult to score a 5?
I can talk about this one. So like it kind of like depends on the class. I mean, I would like recommend going to like the AP scores distribution on like the website. If you search up AP scores distribution, it'll like give you like a table of all like the AP classes and like exactly how many percent of people get like a 5, how many people get 4s, how many people get 3s, and like so on. And it's kind of like deceiving sometimes because if you like look at the scores, like not like the classes that teach like the hardest concepts don't like necessarily like have the lowest 5 rates. Like, take for example AP Calculus BC. It actually has like one of the highest 5 rates, and this is like mainly because like the AP curve. Like in some tests, like the exam only requires like a 60 to 70% like correctness for like a 5, which is like kind of surprising. Where like, I mean, it's not like a good comparison to like an A standard for like a common class you take at school. You have to get like 90% or above, like this one. Yeah, so um yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add like the harder the exam, the lower percentage you need in order to get a 5. So usually it's like 60 to 70%. But then like I think for AP Calculus BC and Physics C, I think I googled it. You only need like a 58% in 2016 in order to get a 5, which is like wow, really surprising. Like you would get an F in the class, but a 5 on the test. And also like if you're like are doing the test like right now, and if you see a really hard question, don't panic, because only the relative grades matter. So like if this is hard to you, other people will think it's hard as well. So you just have to do your best and score better than like a lot of other people in order to get a 5, because I think you get a curve if everyone gets like a really bad grade. And yeah, the score to get a 5 would be lower if the test is harder. And yeah, for me, last year I got like a really hard environmental science question. I answered really poorly. Like I was really panicking toward the end, but then I wasn't expecting to get a 5, but then probably others did pretty bad as well. So like we all get a curve. Yeah. Getting a 5 is definitely not. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not, because especially in free response, they literally take out points like if you say something wrong or if you don't show one step of the work. But then just don't stress too much about it. Like if you follow like all the rubric of the grading rubric and answer question accordingly, I think you will be fine.
Yeah, and just a little tidbit that I wanted to add. I do know that there are some younger audiences here who may not be familiar with the term curve. So what we mean when we say that there is a good curve or a bad curve, a curve is basically when, okay, how do I say this? If there are like say 100 people taking a test, right? And then we normally, when it comes to like regular grading, like A's, B's, C's, like, we look at your overall, like a 90% on this test, or like, a 90% is an A, over 80% is a B, so on and so forth for all the other letters. But then when there's a curve, we're not exactly looking at your raw score, we're looking at the scores of everyone, kind of like the smallest amount, like, like say someone got like a 50 and the highest score was like an 85, right? If a lot of people got like an 85, the curve is going to be like a lot, like if a lot of people scored higher, that means the curve is going to be worse for you, because if a lot of people scored high, that means the people that did score high, like it doesn't mean as much, versus like if the average was a 50 and someone got like 100%, right? That means that whoever got that 100% was a lot smarter than the average person. So if we look at it like that, if you have an easy test, then that means a lot of people are going to score higher, therefore making scoring that 5 a lot harder. Versus if you have a really hard test and most people are scoring like 50s and 60s, then like it'll be a lot easier to like get. So if you get more questions wrong, like if you get like a 70, normally we see that, oh my gosh, you got a 70, that's like a C. That would be kind of like, not that impressive. But if, the average score is like a 60 and you got a 70, you're above average. So that's kind of, I just wanted to kind of explain what that meant in case someone didn't understand. And I'm so sorry if I just confused you even more, but yeah, I tried. So moving on, question number 8. What if I regret my choice? Like feel like it's too much pressure, don't have enough time to study after registering for an exam? And oh, go for it.
I would say like just always remember you can cancel, and I canceled like European history and French because I just felt like I didn't have time to study for that and I probably wouldn't do well. So it's definitely a judgment call. But if you think you're gonna do bad, or if you just have like if you want to focus on maybe exams that have more to do with your future career or like that you're interested in more, I would just spend time studying for those instead.
Yeah, also I want to emphasize that if you want to cancel exam, be sure to do that early because I think if you cancel before April or March, you get some part of the refund. And if you cancel like even earlier, you might even get like half or full refund, which is good because AP exam costs like $150, I think, really expensive. And also, another thing is that you don't have to submit all of your scores to college. So it is okay to not pressure yourself to get like a 5. And also a 3 or 4 is actually good because college some will accept it as credit and they think like they give you college credit and some might just look at it and say, oh, you took the exam, like you are like self-studying or just prove that you are still like really capable of doing stuff. And also, you could take the same exam the next year, and you have the choice of only sending the high scores. I don't think they really care like how many times you take the same exam. They only want to look at like what's your best score. It's kind of like SAT where like you could take it like a lot of times and only give them the high score. And but I would personally recommend taking all the exams you register, even if you did not like really prepare for it or feel like you don't have time for it. So actually sometimes luck is on your side and you might even get a pretty decent score, even if you didn't really study. So always I would recommend to try for that tiny bit of hope. But like definitely I'm not saying that you should depend on luck all the time. Definitely don't depend on that. You should study if time permits. I was only saying that you should only depend on luck if you really don't have time to study for a certain topic. And yeah, that's my tips.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, like, don't feel bad. Like, if you know deep down, like, you're like, I'm not even interested in this topic. I was taking it just because I thought it was going to be easy, but then it's really, really hard and I really don't like to do it. And there's also like finals coming up because College Board just likes doing that to you, giving you, AP tests while you're also taking finals. If you really feel like it's too much, like, mental health comes first. If you feel like you are in a dark place or like just not as where you should be in terms of mental health, always make sure that you are in a safe place first. Like, you do not want to be like, pulling all-nighters consecutively and like, being super duper stressed about everything, not having enough time to like, like not even giving yourself like that like 30 minutes of just like do something that you enjoy. If you feel like, it's like way too much, don't feel bad about putting your mental health first. Like, I think especially within like competitive communities where we're always like, take all the APs you can, you have to get like above a 4.0 GPA. Like, in communities like that, we tend to look down on like, I don't want to call it quitting because like really it's like putting more emphasis on your mental health rather than academic competitiveness. So don't feel bad if you really, really need to drop something. Like, just drop it and then talk to your parents about it, get things over with, and then if anything happens, you can retake it next year. It'll be okay. So yeah, do any of the other panelists have anything you want to add for this? Any last words of knowledge, words of wisdom? Cool, cool, cool. So now we're going to open the floor to the audience. So what AP exams do you want us to talk about? And if you have any other questions, please drop them in the chat. We'd love to cater this discussion to something that we think you would like to hear about. And I do know that there are a handful of questions in the chat already. So I'm going to take a peek at that. Let's see. So what made you self-study and why are those easier? There we go, my bad. Anyways, so typically for self-studying, at least from my opinion, it's like if your school does not offer you the AP exam that you're interested in taking, then you can self-study it. And is this easier? I mean, AP, like the College Board graders do take into consideration that you are self-studying without, an actual teacher and an actual course to back you up. They will take that into consideration, but it will not be like the booster that gets you from like a 4 to a 5. Like it'll just be like they'll consider it. They might go they I don't know exactly how what they mean by they will consider it, but all I know is that they will. We'll see what they do with that information. But yeah, normally that's my take on it. Other panelists, why did you take your self-study exams? Hmm?
Well, so for me, like one thing is that my school don't allow AP exams on the 10th grade, so I don't want to like waste the year kind of because I want to be super competitive, so I don't really want to waste the year. So I just decided to self-study, and definitely like the self-study exams you choose should be easier because like then you could take a lot and you have a higher chance of scoring a 5. But like that doesn't mean like all the self-study exams are easy. It really depends on your choice. Like picking the easy ones might be like the best choice to make you look good on college apps. Yeah.
Cool. Anyone else want to add?
I'd say that that was the case for me too. Like my school didn't allow AP exams, so I just had to self-study it for my first and second year.
Wow, look at all you guys being so competitive. Okay, so another question that, okay, so the next question was talking about GPA, which we already talked about. Self-studying, we said go Princeton because we're Princeton gang here. What else? To be competitive for college applications, how many AP classes do you recommend? Oh, okay, so some of this might depend on the general demographic of your school because a lot of the times colleges will take into consideration what classes are offered at your school, what your potential could have been, what they will take that into account when you try to make a competitive bid for college applications. I think there used to be an award where if you scored like fours or fives in like 8 AP courses, you would be awarded something. I heard talk that they were trying to get rid of that or that's already done with. I don't exactly remember, but based off of that, if you want to go crazy with it, I'd say maybe 8. What do you guys think?
So I know that the AP Scholar Award, like they got rid of it
Mhm,
with the 2021 AP
mhm.
administration. So I guess that's not as important anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, I don't know, y'all are all from California, I'm from Virginia, so there's a little bit of a different school system there. And like at my school, we have all AP exam courses offered basically. So
Oh.
you can take
Ooh.
whatever you want. But I'd say like from what I've heard, like other people say is that AP exams aren't as important now. They're
Mhm.
definitely looking a lot at like experience. I think testing in general is just not as important to colleges anymore. So I mean, I wouldn't say go like overboard, but it is good to do like maybe 5 or something like that.
Mhm. But yeah, just go for things that you're interested in, and then that will also because showing interest in a particular field, showing experience and like expertise in something will make your college application be competitive. Like colleges are like, oh, look at this person. They're like, taking all these science classes. They've taken like, science summer camps. They're like, all A's and everything. They're gonna be like, wow, this person might be a really good scientist, maybe. So yeah. Um, it's really, I guess, like a personal thing, and also like based on how competitive your school is. Also, like especially for like I'm talking about Bay Area, California. That's the general vibe that I've experienced. So yeah, I'd say like ballpark, maybe like 1 or 2, like on average, like 1 or 2 a year should be. You'll be good. Okay, next question is, so could you talk about AP language? So are you talking about AP English or like AP every language? Like I've taken AP Chinese and AP English language and composition, and they're two really different tests. If we want to talk about like, foreign languages, it's mostly, well, I took it during like the COVID age, so it was kind of like super easy. You said English language. Okay, so English language is going to be focused, or how do I say this? So, like most AP tests, the one that I took last year, AP language and composition, is going to be part of it is going to be a multiple choice section, and the other half is going to be an FRQ, free response. So for the multiple choice, all you're doing is basically reading comprehension, grammar, and like rhetorical analysis kind of. And I know you guys are all little babies, probably don't even know what rhetorical analysis is yet. And basically what rhetorical analysis is instead of analyzing just the text and like, what exactly you're reading, you're kind of reading that, but also looking deeper, like the author. We're focusing on the author and what they're trying to do. Like you wrote this and it's super pretty and it's super, beautifully written, shows like all these cool stuff, but why are you writing it? And it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to get me as a reader to feel? And basically, it's a new style of thinking where like instead of just focusing on this is the stuff that you're writing, you're focusing on this is the stuff that you're writing, but this is your message that you want to get across through your writing, and how is the author doing that? I know it might be a bit confusing, especially for the younger kids. So like if you're like, not even close to being in high school yet, completely disregard what I just said, because you need to focus on literary analysis first, where you understand how to dissect text versus how to dissect author's purpose. So it's two different ways of thinking and two different ways of analyzing English. So wait until you get into high school, or like some people start junior high-ish, like middle school. But yeah, if you're too young for it, don't worry, your teachers will get you there. Don't even worry about it. I just realized I was hogging up all the time. Any panelists want to add some stuff? Cool. Okay. So someone asked, what are college apps? So college apps are college applications. So you're going to be like, you kind of get introduced to college applications when you're in a freshman year, but you really don't have to worry too much about it until you're like, junior, senior year. And basically, college applications is just you are going to try to get into a college. How are you going to try to get into a college? You're going to have to write a lot about yourself, and you're going to try to brag about yourself as much as you can. Be like, look at me, college. I did this, this, this. I took this many classes. I scored this. Well, you guys don't have to worry about SATs, but like, we kind of not really have to. But like, you can talk about, your exam scores. You can talk about GPA. You can talk about club activities, how you got involved in school, if you took any jobs, any summer camps. Basically, you're trying to get into a college and you're trying to tell them, look at me, I'm super cool and I deserve to be in your school. And then you write a big old essay, or like a bunch of big old essays, and you're like, I'm even cooler than you think. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to add? Okay, cool. And then someone asked, if I plan to take AP biology in freshman year, when do I need to start studying? Oh, didn't one of our panelists take AP bio self-studied freshman year? Or did someone take? Yeah.
I took AP biology, but I was also taking the biology course at my school. So I kind of just followed along with that because it mostly covers it. But if you do plan on self-studying AP biology, you should definitely get a prep book. Honestly, any of the ones that they mentioned works, like the Barron's and the Princeton. But you should definitely start studying when school starts, because AP biology is a lot of memorization and it's pretty tough.
It's okay, you got it. Freshman year, normally you take a biology course, so you can try to follow it. And if your teacher, if you have run into any questions, just like, even if you don't have the teacher as, if you're not in someone's class and there is an AP bio teacher on campus, feel free to just run up to them and be like, hey, I'm interested in taking this. Can I talk to you real quick? And they'll, most of the time, unless they're like a total prick, like they'll be there to help you. And freshmen are cute, and normally teachers are like, freshmen are cute and they will help you. But don't worry, you got it. So Annie asked, is weighted GPA or unweighted GPA more important for college application? So really it'll depend on which college you are applying for. Some of them look at weighted, some look at unweighted. It really also depends on your school if they even provide like weighted or unweighted. I know my school, I go to American High School. It's in Fremont, California. And they're kind of mean to us. We're like, they don't even let us take that many APs. And then we also go unweighted. So yeah, it's kind of sad for us. But here's the thing. Once you apply to colleges, sure, my transcript won't allow me to get over a 4.0, but some colleges will calculate it for you based on the grades you have on your transcript. And then if they accept, weighted GPA, then it'll look like my GPA is over 4.0. Anything else y'all want to add? Cool. And then another question is, would you need to take lots of AP classes and maintain great grades in senior year at all? So there's this cool thing about senior year where college apps are typically done by like the end of first semester. So really, all you have to do is make sure your first semester grades are beautiful, right? Get all those A's, get all that, look all competitive. And then once you submit your college apps and they're in the way of colleges are starting to read them, they're processing them, the due dates are already over, we have this thing called senioritis, where you just sit there and you don't do anything and try to just maintain a B or above. So, but here's the thing, we don't recommend you do it. We're saying that if that happens, a lot of people experience it. But here's the thing, you can relax a little bit, but don't relax too much to the point where you're getting C's, D's, and F's, because the college that you apply for will be able to see that. And if they see you're so hardworking, but then second semester you got 2 D's and an F, they're gonna be like, is this student really actually hardworking, or should I just maybe drop them? So be careful. Things there's a lot of fun school activities that happen second semester. You don't want, sad college things to get in the way of having fun. So yeah, be wary. First semester is super duper important. Second semester, not as important, but still not unimportant. Cool.
Oh,
Anything
and
else? Yes.
I want to add something. You still would want to take AP classes and the AP exams, because the colleges, some of them will take them as a credit if you score well. You don't have, I guess the college credit saves your money, so you don't have to take that class in college. And although it doesn't really helps you on your college app anymore, I mean, it's a way to save money in college, so why not?
Yeah, save that money. You go to public schools, you don't have to pay for that, and you get college credit, versus going to college, taking a class, paying money, and also getting college credit. If you want to save that money, go for it. Okay, another question is AP Human Geography a good AP class to take in freshman year, even if you're not good at studying for tests? I didn't take that class, so someone who did, go for it.
I'd say if it depends on what your personal study method or how you prepare for stuff is. But if you're, I mean, it is a history type class, so it's a lot of memorization, and definitely notes are important for that class. So I'd say maybe no to to taking that in freshman year. And if you're someone not good at taking notes, maybe take a more lab based or on hands-on type thing where you can just think through your head, and that might be a better type of class for you.
I haven't actually taken the class, but if you said it's more history based, I took AP European history, and if I were to be honest, I don't have that much experience with social sciences at all, but from what I gathered from my experience taking AP history, some history course, you don't have to memorize every single basic event. It's more important to understand why it kind of happened, the culture changes, the general vibe of what was going on. Say people were starting to focus on logic and shifting from religion, super religious based, versus actually thinking things through and finding your reason. If you kind of understand general arcs in history, general themes, and vibes, maybe that might help. Even if you're not too great with taking notes, that might be something you can consider. And also, you can always talk to your teachers about that. You can talk to whoever's teaching that course. Be like, hey, I know I have XYZ study habits. Do you think I would be fit for this class? And you can just talk to them or your counselor. And also, it's 8:05 right now, so if you guys have any pressing needs and you need to like, leave immediately because you like, I don't know, some people are busy like that, feel free to drop out. This is being recorded and I will try my best to get that up on the website somewhere or available to you guys. So if you guys need to leave, feel free to just dip out, and if you're interested, you can watch the recording later. Just didn't want to like, hog all your time here. But yeah, moving on. Since many here have taken AP Chinese, what's it like? How hard is it? Do any of y'all want to take the floor?
I'm gonna go first. So I'm not sure for like other people, but I actually lived in China all the way until 5th grade. So the test is actually really easy if this is your native language. The only thing I want to emphasize is the speaking portion, because even if you like are really good at the language, you need to practice a lot the speaking portion. For example, they would ask you in Chinese, like for example, you and your mom going to a restaurant, like your mom asks you what would you want to eat tonight. Like you can't just say random things like, oh, I want burgers and stuff. You have to actually like say something related. Sorry. You have to actually say something related to Chinese culture, like in order to get your score, or else they're not gonna accept it. And also, like you have zero time to think. Like right after the question ends, you have a 21-second period where you have to immediately start speaking. You need to at least fill 17 seconds in order to get the full score. So it's definitely really hard. So you have to practice on that. Yeah.
Most of it is exposure, and please remember, it's not just Chinese language, it's Chinese language and culture. So like they'll ask you stuff about like idioms, they'll ask you like, the traditional histories and like, the stories that they like, the legends and whatever. And if you are planning to self-study, I would super duper recommend, getting like, talking to someone who's taken like an AP Chinese, or like if there's an AP Chinese class available in, your school, ask them like, what textbook are you using? What workbooks are you using? Snatch all those and like read through the culture stuff, because even if you're Chinese and you understand the language, they're testing you on culture too. So don't forget that. Really important. Anything else someone wants to add about AP Chinese? Cool. So which AP Physics, 1, 2, C, like all that, is most appropriate for someone just taking their first level of physics? I did not take physics, so
I could answer that. So when I was in sophomore year, like I only learned like, I'm not sure like what first level of physics mean right here, but I only learned physics to take the SAT 2 physics. But like I think if you just know like the basic stuff, you could take physics 1 with some practice questions, because physics 1 is not like difficult in terms of having you understand stuff. You just have to know like all the formulas and when to use each one of them. So if you have like taken the first level, I would assume physics 1 is the best choice. I haven't taken physics 2, but I think that's just a bit harder than physics 1. If you want to challenge yourself, go for that. And for physics C, I only took the mechanics part. The mechanics part is actually really easy, I would say. If you took physics 1 before, AP physics 1, I mean, because it's only the same thing except a tiny bit deeper. Like you need to know how to derive each formula. But like I would definitely recommend like taking that only if you have taken like calculus or understand calculus or taking calculus right now. So I think in your case, you're better off taking AP Physics 1 or 2.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I just got a little notification from some of the adults. They're like, hey, let's try to keep it till 8:10, and it is 8:10 now. If you guys have any questions, I will be documenting this in the I will be documenting the chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop an email to, let me put my email in the chat real quick. You can send any questions you have to this email whenever you want. I will get responses from these 5, and I will get that out to you guys as soon as possible. But thank you for participating in this. It was super great talking to you guys. You guys asked a lot of really good questions, and yeah, overall I think this was super fun. Please.